So once you do a yum install on that the Apple release, and I'm not going to do it because I've already done it before, I can do a yum search Ansible. And let's see if Ansible is in there. All right. So as you can see, I have Ansible docs for documentation. I have an inventory that and it's more or less like telling me what a graph of the inventory of information of servers that I have. I also see I have Ansible here for just regular Ansible, the Python 2 for Ansible Tower. Oh, you get into Ansible Tower another time. And then Kubernetes, and then like Ansible Review to review my playbooks for in case I have issues with my playbooks in terms of configuration. All right, so now I'm gonna do a yum. I'm gonna test something. I'm gonna check and see if I have it installed. So I'm gonna do an RPM query, and I'm gonna grab Ansible because I may have it installed already. And I do. I have 2.31 already installed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a yum. I'm just gonna do a yum update on Ansible. I think I may be at the latest and greatest, but we'll double check. Did I spell it right? And so I think let's do an upgrade. See if it catches it. No. Am I spelling that wrong? Let's see. No, I spelled it right. It's not finding it. Alright, let's do this. Let's do an update just to check and see, but I don't think, yeah, it's not in there. And I'm going to do a yum search on Ansible. See if it returns the version. It's not finding anything. Let's do this. Let's clear my cache. So here is me cleaning out my cache for my yum. And now I'm going to do a yum search again, Ansible, and then now it's going to go. What it's going to do is everything that's located over in etc yum.repod, all these files that you see here, these are all repos that I have set up currently on my instance. And what's going to happen is it's going to go through each one of those files, or each one of those files, which is a repo, a pointer to a repo, and then list out those particular repos, and then it's going to search for that particular package. So now I'm going to do a yum search. Let's give you something that I know to find. So if I do a yum search telnet, you see how it listed out those repos. It's going to go through and refresh itself. Let me minimize this back down. And so now you can see it found everything that had the word telnet in it. And it found telnet. And there's a putty. All right. All right. So now let's do the same thing for Ansible. And there you have it. You see that Ansible. And let's see. Let's do a man on Yum and see if Yum can tell me what see if I can find a version, because we want to be able to get like a version of that particular one. Not that it matters right now for what you're trying to do. I just want to make sure that see Yum version. Can I do a version on the package? Let's see. Waiting for it to go. Okay. No, it's just telling me the version of Yum. All right. So either way it go, It's in there. It's installed. So the way Ansible works with SSH. So it goes like, hey, I have to create an SSH key. Well, how do I do that? I do SSH-keygen, SSH-keygen -T RSA. And so what that's going to do is that's going to generate keys for me, um, for me to be able to log into other Linux boxes without passing a password. So that's another way to get into your Linux boxes. You can do this in PuTTY. You can do this in WinSCP as well too, from your Windows box to your Linux box. All right, but I've already done this before. So if I do a ls in my home directory .ssh and id.pub, you'll see that I have, that's what it creates. It creates this public file. So when you're SSHing to another box, you have a public key and a private key. The public key you always are going to share. Your private key is something that you're going to keep private for yourself. So that's what Ansible uses. So now if I want to get to other boxes, I need to share my public key with the other instances that I have. Well, I had to create those instances, or those instances are already created depending on your environment. So as you can see here, I have some servers that are already out there, but for this one, I'm going to create some servers. Let me go over here. I'm using Google Cloud. Actually, let's use DigitalOcean. Actually, let's use the box that I just gave you, so I can show you that. All right, so let's scroll up here. I'm going to open up another terminal, and I'm going to make this, let's make this green, and then let's come here. And let's do this. Let's SSH to the box that I gave you. And then we're going to yeah, you can do it. All right. Now I changed this password because I'm logging in. Oh, come on. It probably won't let me do this because I'm giving it a weak password. Hold on. That's fine. I'll make it a strong one. All right. So here, what I'm going to do, if I look over in oh, sorry, I meant to put CD. I don't have anything in here but authorized keys. All right, so let's do a watch ls -a on this directory. And what I'm doing is watch is going to watch this directory, and it's going to change every 2 seconds. It's going to look at it for every 2 seconds. And the command I'm running is ls, which is long list. So let's put these side by side so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I have this SSH key over on this box on the left hand side, and I know that I want to log in remotely without using passwords. And I also know that I want to I'm logging in as root, right? So for every user that you have to do this. That's a bad idea to be doing this as root, but for all intents and purposes, this is what we're doing today. So I do a SSH dash copy ID dash I, the location of the file, and then the IP address of where I want to go to, or the host name of the machine I want to go to. Now I could put the user root in front at root at, but it's already you understood. So I'm just going to put the IP address. And now it's going to go in and do its thing and say, yes, I want to add that. And now I put in my password that I just changed to. And so now my password, I put that in. So let's go here. It's Control C there. So if I do a cat on authorized keys, you'll see this instance 4 is there. If I do a LL, is changed, that the time is off on this one. So it just got changed like, 10 seconds ago. But my key is over there for this instance. All right. So now what I can do is, I know the IP address. If I just do SSH with the IP address, I'm on that box without passing in a password. So now that I have that set up, if I go into etc ansible hosts, remember there's 2 host files here. There's a host file under etc/host, and then there's a host file under etc ansible/host. So I'm going to go here and do that. And so now I'm going to say, I'm going to do, show you some things. So there's an Ansible. I'm going to show you their documentation. It's Ansible-doc-L. So you can do Ansible commands via ad hoc or playbook. I am going to show you via playbook. And I know Ansible is installed over there. So one of the modules is ping. And let's see if we can find it. So here's ping right here. So let's do an Ansible doc, and then let's do ping. So this is the documentation for ping. It's telling me in my playbook, like, I can do an Ansible right here. New servers, I can put that under there and do -m ping. So let's go back to my Ansible playbook, or my Ansible host file. And I only have one machine under here, but it's under the title, or under the I guess location of new servers. So that's what I'm going to pass to my Ansible module. So I'm going to go Ansible new servers, because it's only, that's where I put the IP address at. The module I want to do is ping. Now ping, this won't work without, ping will work with pinging the box by itself, but if you're using Ansible to ping the box, it won't work, because Ansible requires SSH, or SSH keys, to be exchanged. So we should get a pong back, just like we did there. So we know that works. Another thing I can do here, I can go back and I can show from the Ansible docs. And this is just on here, and remember, each version is different. I can do other things. So let's look at Yum. So there's a Yum and a Yum repository. So let's quit that. And then let's go here and say, all right, let's look at the module for Ansible. For Yum. So let's do Ansible dash doc, or Ansible. Yeah, Ansible dash doc Yum. So here you'll see all the different items you have for Ansible, for Yum, in terms of what you can do with it. But you also see they have some things that says if it's an equal sign, it's mandatory. So right here you have the equal for name, and that means that I it's mandatory that I give it a name. But if I see the other stuff here, like the dash exclude, the dash install, the dash list, the dash disable repo, those are considered what we consider optional. So if you keep scrolling down, they'll give you examples. So what you see here is something that you would set up in a playbook, but you can do this from command line too. And let's do this from command line. So if we go over here to our box, the one that we're playing with here, and let's do a RPM. I'm a query for telnet. If I just do a RPM-QA, it's going to go through and give me all of the RPMs. But if I do a RPM-QA and I grep that telnet, I'm going to grep to see if just that package is installed, and that package isn't installed. But because I have Ansible on my other machine, I can install that. So now I can do an Ansible new servers -m yum. We know the name has to be is mandatory. And let me control C here. One other thing I didn't show you. If we want the package to be present or installed, we have to do a state of present or install or latest. So let's do a state of present. Control L. So let's do it. Ansible new servers -m yum, and then the name, which is telnet, and then state present. And I may be off on my command line here. But the other thing too is when you're playing around with Ansible, if you do a tail-f on var log messages, that's where it logs everything to when you're making changes. So let's see if I got my state right. See if I got this right. Oh, snap. Error on the argument. What argument was it? Let's look and see. Maybe you have to do Ansible ad hoc. Let me see. Let's look that up right quick, because I'm always doing it from command line. I'm always doing it from I'm always doing it from a playbook. All right, that's right. Let's see. Do I need to do this? Okay, nothing to do. Okay, let's go back. Run that again. What was the error? No host match. Oh, because I didn't put new servers. Let's do Ansible hosts. And yeah, it's new servers with an S. So let's go back over here and put an S on that. Yum has extra params, which is only allowed if following modules command shell when include blah 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 blah. Let's see where you're let's see. I think this is the problem there. No, you don't like me. Let's find out what the problem is. What's wrong with my documentation for ad hoc command for Yum? I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Let's see, that's the ping. We got that. Yum. So they do, I wonder why they do a raw. Let's skip that. A raw is similar to running directly via SSH, and they're running the command. But I don't want to run the command, Yum. I actually want to use the module, Yum. That's cheating. We don't want to do that. Let's see. And when I talk about, I'll show you in a minute what I'm talking about when I'm referring to ad hoc. Let's see. Do they have an example? Yeah, introduction to ad hoc, managing packages. So here you go, right here. So see, oh, I didn't do a -A. What's the -A? Let's scroll up. I think if I do a man on Yum, I'm not a man on Yum, but on the actual thing, I guess the -A signifies that this is an ad hoc command. All right, so that tells me for my command is, let's clear and let's go here and do a -A. And make sure I got my syntax right here. Where did I go with it? -A goes where? Right in front of the command that I want to run. Not in front of the module. Where are we dying at? Where'd it go? Yeah, state present -M web servers -A. What are we missing? Nothing. Let's check our syntax. Ansible, new servers, -M for the module, -A for the name, and we went with telnet, and the state is present. And let's run this up that command. Let's widen this. Let's clear, because that looks funky. Is there any spaces in between the states? Oh, so syntax. The syntax is it should be equal. So in the playbooks you do the colons. So that's why I say I always do playbooks. So it's a matter of syntax. So you have to have the -A to let it know it's ad hoc. Let me go back over here. Pull this back up. As you can see, it ran the actual command and installed telnet. And I did that all from one instance. So I can do the same thing again. Say I want to install VS FTPD. I can do the same thing there. It goes out and gets its information, and then it installs. And as you can see, it runs everything on the screen. I prefer playbooks. I think everyone should use playbooks. So that's a little brief little rundown of Ansible, getting it installed, setting up your SSH keys, and then running your commands on the actual host itself. And then you can do this to install like different applications and make configuration changes on config files. You just have to make sure you use your modules. You can also use Ansible for deploying to different clouds, such as OpenStack, um, Google Cloud, GCP, also deploying to DigitalOcean and so forth. So it's pretty robust. You can do the same thing with Puppet and Chef. We should have some lessons on Puppet and Chef. I have to make some lessons on that. So, is any questions? I know we kind of covered a lot. I know there was a little stumbling in there, and you might have got lost. Was that pretty straightforward for everyone? Silence is agreement. Okay. So now let's talk about um, security and RPMs and so forth. So I'm going to give you a list of pages that I left my book at work. So I'm kind of having it's not over your head. Not at all. You're just getting started. So it's just one of those things. So this is what you're gonna get. Like if you want to do Ansible, that was Ansible. If you want to get started with like a base of Linux, I will actually go to either the Linux Academy or the Linux Foundation. Um, the Linux Foundation does the Linux Plus. The Linux Academy does the Linux Plus, and they do the RECSA. So what's the best thing to do? Well, the RECSA is um, if you're looking to get certified in Linux and you want to go work, most people are in the most people are in Red Hat server wise. Most people who are desktops and deploying apps are Ubuntu. So you have some Ubuntu and Debian that are deployed, but most of the time you'll find that uh, when you walk into most places, it's a mix right now. Like Red Hat used to be like the dominating one, but now it's kind of like a mix. But it's still Red Hat's still pretty strong, and that's industry dependent. Then there's IBM who has their own flavor of Linux. So that's a whole different ballgame. All right. So I'm gonna clear here. And I just posted these three links here. So I want to talk about some things that most people don't ever really discuss when it comes to security. Number one, logging in and root. In your Ubuntu and even in your newer versions of Linux, it used to be that you logged in as root. But when they're on the install, when you spin it up, they log you in as a regular user, and then you get what we call Sudo privileges. So if you look at etc su doers, I'm in here because in my in my in and I should talk about that too. Um, in here in su doers, I'm gonna back up. So when you go to do your playbooks in Ansible, and you need to run a command, but you need to be root, there's a module called become. Oh, it doesn't have it listed. Oh, dash L. And I should grep for become, not just dash L, but that's okay. Do. Oh, they don't have it in here. So let's go here. Ansible module become. So this is the for you to escalate your privileges. So what become does is lets you run as root, but that only happens when you come over to this file here sudoers. And in this file, you have to put your user that you're logging into that box as in order to become root. So let's play around with this. So let's make a user by user add. Well, let's do this. Let's do a man on. Let's do a help user add dash dash help. All right. So here I can give. I can pass these parameters. The help, the home directory, the shell I want the user to be able to log in as, create my home dir, and so forth. But I want to pass it. I can pass it the password that I want to use. So let's do dash. Let's go back. Dash dash help. Actually, let's pull it up over here so we can have it side by side. So here I'm going to do a user add dash dash help. And what I'm going to do is just going to get these side by side. User add, and let's pass this a dash C tam user. And notice I put them in double quotes. The dash D is a home directory of the new account. So I can do a dash D and where I want my home directory to be. By default, it'll be slash user home, but I can pass a dash D and make my user home something else. Let's try it. Let's do that. Let's make my home slash opt. And the password. And as you can see, if I do the dash M, it'll create a home directory for me. All right, so let's do a dash P, and let's pass it a password of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So unsecure. Oh, what it didn't like. Let's see. It didn't like probably my dash D option. Let's control up. And let's put everything in quotes here. Let's see, said the blind man. Yeah, it still didn't like me. What happens when I take my dash D out? Let's try dash dash password. You don't like me. Oh, you know what? You guys didn't even tell me. I didn't tell her what user I want to make. So let's go back and do the other one because it was a matter of a user. Okay, home directory already exists. Okay, so let's give it a new directory. Okay, the user is already added. That's fine. Okay, so basically what you see happening is I created this user here. It says with the dash D option, that that directory already exists, so I can't create it. So that didn't work. Here with this option, it says, well, since it didn't work, I still created it, that user test tam too. But now you're telling me they want it to be slash tam. I mean, slash tam is the home directory. I won't do that because it's already created. But if you change it to a 3 and make that slash tam, I'll take that. So if I went to my, if I do a tail dash in, let's do the last 5 lines of etc password, you'll see I have 3 users. Tam test, test tam 2, test tam 3. One of them has a home directory / home. One has / op. One has / tam. They all have a login shell of bin bash. And that's it. That's what happened. So now if I do a ls here, I'm a grep for tam. You see there's my directory. The other one is / opt. If I do a ls on / home, you'll see I have a tam test for that one. So what happens is I set the passwords to be all of them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So technically speaking, let's get the IP address here of this machine. Oh, it's on Google. Hold on. There's a broadcast IP address I need to get. Let's go to console. And I don't remember the IP off the top of my head. It's a 104 IP address. Everybody okay so far? Is this all right? All right, so there's the IP address. So technically speaking, I can SSH, what's the users? Those users were tam test 3, or is it test tam 3? Test tam 3 at 104.196.97.173. Are you gonna let me in over SSH? Let's find out. My firewall may be up, and I may be prevented. Let's do a firewall D firewall cmd -- list ports. Oh, I don't have no ports running. Let's go system control. Stop firewall D. All right. And make sure I got the right IP address. Oh, I do it every time. It's 97, 96. There we go. And I'm in because I passed off these keys. I'm automatically in. That's awesome. And it's Google Cloud. That's how Google Cloud works. So I'm in on that box. So now let's go back to this box that I created. Let's go back. Let's do a tam test 3. Oh, it's giving me a permission denied because Google Cloud is funny like that. You have to pass the actual SSH keys and put them in Google Cloud. They won't let you log in like that. So technically speaking, I would have logged in. But wait a minute. No, it's still in Google Cloud. Let's spawn it up. No, this is DigitalOcean. This should work. This should work. Let's double check. Let's see what's going on there. This is, oh no, I'm on DigitalOcean going to Google Cloud. That won't work. If I'm on Google Cloud, let's see, user, cat, password. Yeah, so give you an idea. Let's do a password on test. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. And here, if I do a SSH test, and this IP address of this machine, which is this one here. I wanted to show you getting in. And then what should happen over here, if I go to sudoers, I don't have Vim installed, so let's do a yum install Vim, which is a package. I like Vim versus VI because Vim gives me pretty colors. And Vim, it's called Vim Enhance. So Vim etc password. As you can see, pretty little colors. If I do this in Vim, in VI, no pretty little colors. All right, so you can see I have test here. Well, also if you look here in sudoers, I don't have a user in here called test. So when I go here to sudo su-root and I put in my password, it tells me I'm not in the sudoers file. So now if I come over here and I'm just going to copy that line by doing a yank, and I'll put in test. When I come back over here to that to sudo to run that command and I put in my password, I'm able to do that. That's exactly what the become does inside of your Ansible script. If you don't put it in that sudoers in that file, you won't get root access, and there's some things you need to run in order to become root. So I did all of that to show you that. Twofold. Okay. So here's the other stuff I want to show you. Where's my page? So we always talk about, that's not it. We always talk about security in Linux. Have you ever, this is a good example here on this page. So on this page, you can grab this file or grab this link here, which is going to install an RPM. And I'm going to install this RPM on this machine here. So I'm going to say yum install, and it's going to go out and grab that RPM and install it for me. So this is a public website. Who knows if this website got hacked or not? You're being very trusting by installing that RPM, and then it sets up and does whatever it says it's going to do. You have no idea what it's going to do, and you have no idea what it's going to install. So RPM has a way that you can, one, verify the RPM hash is the same and what it actually installs. And that's really important when you're grabbing RPMs from different locations. So let's do a man on RPM. And let's widen this. And I think you should be able to see. All right, so there's various things to do. You can do an RPM, you can query, and you can verify. Well, how about that? You can verify the package. And that's really important because if I give you an RPM and you install it and I corrupt your system and then you go back and check and my checksums don't match up, then you can say, okay, it has been tampered with. So let's play around with this. Let's do an RPM. We did this before, RPM-QA. And I'm just going to pipe that over the list so it doesn't scroll off my screen. So let's grab an RPM file system. All right. And so let's do a RPM dash query And let me do this first before I go off. So there's a QILC. So there's RPM Q, and then there's RPM L for listing, and then there's I for info, and then there's C tells you, where is it at? They don't have it on here. Where is my C? Oh, there it is. Config files. So I can do a list of, I can query for config files. I can query for docs. I can query for display the state of the listed files. Let's do all of that. So let's do RPM dash QILCDS. And it was file system that I wanted to look at. So it comes back and it gives you some information. It tells you that the version that's installed. It tells you the install date. It also tells you the source of where that RPM is. The signature is really what we want out of this, because we can do a RPM verify. So when we looked at RPM, you see there was a -v. So let's do a RPM -v file system. Let's see what it gives back if I just do a -v. No arguments given to verify. Let's look that up. It's not returning what I want. Let's see what it says. RPM-V for verify, select options, and then verify options. Let's go into more detail. Let's go RPM verify. Let's see if we can find an example. Okay. Maybe on this page. All right. They just give a path to the RPM. Let's see what happens when we run the RPM VA. I think it's going to go through the whole entire repo. Okay. All right. Cool. It's giving me my signatures. That's perfect. Let that run. I'm going to pull that over to the side. So it says to verify all the packages belonging to a package. Well, here to verify all the files in the RPM database, and you'll see here that it's going through and it's verifying some information there. Then the verify on the package is what I did. I may have to give the full RPM name. So let's go back and query grep file system. All right, so let's see if I need that full package. Nope, didn't give me anything. Where are we going wrong? It's just giving me an RPM. Let's see something here. Let's grab this ELPL RPM again. We're gonna do a wget on it. That ain't what I want to do. Not download it. There you go. Let's wget this RPM. Okay, there we go. And then let's try this RPM verify on that one. Now it says it's not installed, and we know that it is. See, we know that it is. So let's try it on that, what it thinks it is. 7-10.norc. Nothing. All right. Oh, you go. And then, so here, I don't know, you can't see that, it's kind of small. Let's go back over to this guy. When we did that RPM VA here, this is them breaking down like the what these means, like the file size, if it differs, there's a MD5 that differs, and then they have nothing there, and then the M time that differs. So it's going through and it's giving you all that information. Then it's telling you there is a configuration file. This right here is the configuration file for that. I don't see a dash doc for that. So they gave you an example here on one of those, one of the on the I guess they did an ISDN and it returned, as far as the package, and then return this. All right, so and this comes in handy when you want to do when you're trying to verify whether or not you got a good RPM or somebody changed something about an RPM. So basically here they just did that same thing I just did, and they stored it in a file, and then they're going through and putting in originals. Now they say a new RPM-VA command coupled with a diff you can tell the changes here. And this is just one way to verify. There's also see, verify the checksum. RPM verify checksum. So you want to check the signature, and that's what I was trying to get to. Here you go. So here, so when you import, there's the keys, and then, and I don't know if you ever done that before. So when you CD over to etc GPG, is it GPG key? Da, da, da. No, it's not just GPG key. Where is it? TLS? I forget off the top of my head. Hold on. So let me look at update DB. I forget what it's called. I forget the path. I know what it's called. I just forget the path. Yum install and locate. Forget the path off the top of my head. I can't believe it. And I use this all the time. Alright, so let's do an update DB. This is just updating the local database. Alright, then let's do a locate of release. Alright, so there's the ELPA one. Where is the import? So with the ELPA, there is an import of a key like they're showing you here, user share. Is it on the user share? I don't think it is. So user share, it's usually not under there. Is that an ELPA? It's not under there. Where is that GPG key? Where's that path? I forget off the top of my head. Import for CentOS. Where is the path? I can't believe I forgot it. ETC TLS update locate TLS. Oh, that's it. I couldn't remember. All right, under ETC PKI TLS certs. That's not it. PKI. There we go. RPM GPG. Couldn't remember it. Okay. CD over to ETC, PKI, RPM. There we go. All right, these keys. So when you import these keys, these are the keys that this is the key that says that when you install anything from this repository for CentOS, it's gonna these keys this key is the actual assigned key that matches the keys for those RPMs. And if those RPMs are off, then it won't work. Oh, you had a question. If the RPM was hacked, then what does the system verify it against? Like, is there some type? Yeah, it is. So that's where we're getting at, this GPG stuff, as you can see here. So let's go back over to here. So when I import this key, is what you normally have to do when you doing a yum install and you don't import the key. It yum asks for that key. So if I do a yum -- import, and I'm going to do this on the RPM GPG key right here. I mean, I'm already in the path, so I don't have to do that. So now here, we're going to display all our keys here. So there's my GPG public key. All right. So we see all of that. So now, as you can see here, let's say to display the details of a specific key, I can just do this query. So let's do that. RPM -QI, and let's grab this one here. And there's my hash, and it goes along with my CentOS repository. And I bet you the other one is probably the EPEL. Yep. And so there's the keys for the EPEL. All right. So now you know you have those keys, you have those installed. So now here, like verifying the signature of a package. So we have, what I did download was that RPM here. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to do a RPM -K, capital K, on the Apple. And it says, because remember I installed my key already, that import that I did, it's checking it against that, and it says, yeah, it's okay. If I imported another key that wasn't correct and I installed this RPM, when those two check, it'll say, nope, those don't match. So I say all of that to say is when you're going to do your installs on RPMs, make sure that you're installing and verifying your keys. And I give you this link because you could get to a place where, like, where people using GitHub and forking stuff, and you don't know what those RPMs that they're installing may do, or if they're correct or what have you. You just want to make sure that you verify these things. So yeah, they go back over the same stuff we just went over here. All right, so that's one aspect, right? Another aspect of all of this is your updates, your yum updates. So if you do a yum search security, so you got not mob security, but there's the OpenSCAP guide, which I won't get into that because that's going to be a little longer. But there's also a plugin, a security plugin. Let's see, do they have it? I don't see it. Maybe called something else. and it may already be up to date on here. Yum, man, yum. And let's look up security. All right, so there is a way to do a dash security. So when you just want to update, and this is when what I want to go over is when you just want to update just the security of RPMs. Like you don't want to update the whole system, you just want to update the security RPMs, and then you want to update only the ones that may be under the advisory or ones that are critical or so forth. You can do yum dash security and just only pass me the security parameters. So let's do a yum dash um, security here. All right, so here it is. Let's see, did I give examples? Yeah. So here you can do just to list all of it. And I don't think I have anything here to update because I checked before, but I can go back and download like an older version of something and do it. But this is probably not going to return anything. Ah, it did. All right. So it says no packages needed for security, but you got 20 packages available. So it went out and checked that. All right. So now I just checked to see was there an update, but then here you can pass like, okay, I want you to check for say an advisory, right? There may be just an advisory that needs to be updated. There's some minimal packages that need to be added. You can specify what you want because in some instances you may just be updating just the security packages. You may not want to update the other stuff just to stay in compliant. All right. So let's look at this one. Let's do this one. But there is another thing I wanted to show you too. All right. See, I didn't have anything. All right. So when they told me that up here when I did it the first time. So the other thing I wanted to show you, and this is brief. Let me give you this link. The Red Hat website has more stuff, better documentation in this here. But you want to know about CVEs. So let's look at this. All right, will it let me do that? No. Yum dash security dash CVE check update. I probably had to do a check update. Nope. So you don't like the dash security. All right, let's do the security. Yum security. Let's do this. Oh, it doesn't like yum security. Yum check. No. Let's see. Control L. Let's see what the command is. That's an example down here. That's the dash security, but I want to get a list of the actual security updates via Yum. Let's see what they say. All right, so yeah, you install the Yum security plugin. Okay, here it is. Let's see if that's rel 7. I mean, we're on rel 7. That security plugin may already be installed. We'll find out when we run this command. Okay, there we go. All right, so as you can see here, this is a list of, you can see ones that what the package does. Like, it's an enhancement, it's a bug fix, here's security updates, a new package being installed, and then you can get info. Let's say on the security one, let's go grab a security one. Where's one at? Right here. So for Yara, I have no idea what Yara does, but here we can get, that's what this one is here when they talk about here. So Yum info update info. So this should tell me, oh, no update info. So Yum, let's see if it just, let's do it just Yum info on the, nothing. Let's go back. There's a dash dash CVE. That's not a CVE. Okay. Update info. Let's see. And is that the right thing? Did I grab too much? Nothing. What am I missing? I wonder if it only covers the stuff from Red Hat and not the Apple. Hmm. Apple, 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 Apple. All that says Apple. Yeah, all that says Apple. Interesting. All right, let's dig in. Let's see. Okay, dash dash advisory. I don't want to update. I want it to give me information. Let's see if this command works. I want information about the advisory, because sometimes, like, I don't know if you were working with the Heartbleed and they were talking about what what packages you needed to update. Yeah, see, that's not working. Let's scroll up here. Let's see something here. Yeah, it's not returning anything. I wonder why. Now this right here will only this command will only update the security modules. And I saw some, but I think this may only apply to, like, CentOS. Yeah, see, it didn't tell me there's no packages needed for security, but you do have 20 packages. So that may be why it's not giving me anything. And in terms of, I don't have anything in the security list to update, so it probably won't return anything. And then it's not giving me this because it's not a security update. I think that's why it's doing that. But needless to say, this right here is actually part of the RHCXA exam. And it's also part of the Red Hat hardening exam as well too. Um, they talk about this in the class, so it's just part of their listening. Like in, let's see, Red Hat hardening guide, Rel 7. I think the one for Rel 6 is still out. So with this one, I would encourage anybody who's like wants to learn Linux or starting out, like, go through this, because this is just gonna be just something that you just need to know, like how to maintain software and so forth. I wanted to start talking about um and making RPMs, but I'll say that for next class. Like system audits. Remember I showed you earlier about OpenSCAP, um, encryption, asymmetric versus symmetric, encrypting, creating a volume and encrypting a volume and then storing data on an encrypted volume. Um, how to secure your, see here, your BIOS, the type of disk partitioning. They talk about that. How to break down what partitions you need when you're building your instances. And that's what's funny is in the cloud world, they just build it. They don't build it like this. So then the question becomes, is do you need it? Um, if you're in the cloud, because you have other measures of security. So I don't know if this is going to ever go away, but on your boxes, that's not. Always install the minimum amount of packages, restrict your network connectivity, turning on your firewall, enabling SE Linux, um, keeping your system up to date. And the other one is aid. So what aid does, it takes, I keep doing it. It takes, um, it takes basically a database of your configuration files of what's stored on your machine. And once it does that, once it creates that database and you store it somewhere, and say you install some packages, you need to run it again and it'll tell you what changed. And you go away for 5 months and you come back and you see like something's going on with the machine. Somebody might install something, you're not sure. You can run aid again, or aid can send you an email letting you know that, something happened, or somebody installed something. But it's a way to keep up with what's going on with your system, and keep a working copy of that database. And you can store that database somewhere else too. But we'll get into aid another time. Is now after 9. I held you up since 7:30, so I'm gonna start recording as well.